What's up guys, Nerdy Perkins here with another Franky Deck Builders, and today is a really cool one, at least I think. And we are going to be doing an Oden leader deck. If you aren't familiar with him, I'm really liking Oden. He is 5 life, 5,000 power, and his ability is that he can activate main once per turn. You may trash one WANO country type card from your hand. Set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. So the idea is you're going to be using something to get your Dawn rested, and then you will trash like any kind of WANO card. I think it can be, any WANO type card. So it can be event, it can be character, anything, and you will get 2 extra Dawn. So you get a little extra ramp, get a little extra fuel. And I'm really liking this card. It definitely wants you to play a more WANO country centric deck, which is why you'll see when my full deck list, you'll see a lot of WANO country characters. And, you could probably do one that flexes a bit more with some extra supernovas thrown in, but honestly, I'm liking kind of the balance I have here. So let's look at the deck list. And yeah, so here we go. And one thing you'll kind of notice is that we have we have a lot of blockers who are not from WANO. Then that's because none of the WANO characters have block. So I think it is actually kind of designed for this set that I tried to do just a WANO country alone deck, and you probably can. I think it's just super like rush. You're just trying to attack as fast as you can. But like I thought, it could use a little extra blocker, and I think some of these blockers have really good utility. So I think these will be very good choices. As I said, lots of 4 of, and you probably flex some of these down to 3 maybe, and add an extra card set or 2 if you really want. And I'll have some suggestions at the end. Let's just go breaking down like group by group real quick here then. We'll start with our low cost characters. So we have Komurasaki, who is a 1 cost 0 power. On play, you use 3, and if your leader is Kozuki Oden, set one of your WANO country type cards with a cost of 3 or less as active. So she's going to be able to, get a WANO country untapped, which is useful. Like, she'll be useful in like a cinch, in a situation where, maybe you want to try to get 1 extra attack in, that kind of a thing. But she's really more here for the counter. And then also you can then use her to trigger Oden's ability to get 2 extra Dawn, which is going to be always useful. Then we have Killer as our low cost blocker. I really like this card. It's really not going to it's basically meant to be thrown out there when you have a nice full character area, and then block, get a draw, going to be really good. And I've gotten really good use out of the Killer, so I think it's going to be good. And a few non-WANO cards are not going to hurt you. Then you have Momo, who is 1 cost 0 power, counter 1,000. You activate his main by resting him and Dawn, and you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a WANO country type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Going to be really good for card draw, making sure you get kind of exactly the card you want. The one kind of trade-off is you do have some of these supernova cards that if you end up getting both of your kids or something later on in one swoop, they're going to get dumped to the bottom of your deck. So you kind of have that trade-off. But the idea, I think, is you have enough Momo that you can get him, and you're trying to trigger him every turn. So the idea is you're going to be moving through your deck fairly quickly. And if you're really good at keeping track of what cards are where, maybe exactly when that kid's going to come back around. So like I said, these are really good. And like I said, all these, the Komurasaki and Momo, are both just also fuel that you can use with your Oden card to get more Dawn. Then we have our mid-cost attackers. Basically, these are your 3 costs that you're going to be trying to toss out. And, all of them have different abilities. If in the future, I'd like to see maybe some more on play, because we do have some really cool abilities that we could do and kind of trigger on play multiple times. But for now, we have Dog Storm, who's 3 cost 4,000, and you add 2 Dawn, and he is going to add more Dawn to your deck. This is when you could maybe bring down a couple if you want to, because I have more cards that are going to ramp. But honestly, you get a few of these on the board, and get them going, you're going to be able to toss out a few things and do some interesting stuff. And we have Okiku, and I love this card. You add a Dawn to her, and she attacks, and she will rest one of your opponent's 5 costs or less. And like I said, this is a very good anti-blocker. You're going to attack, get them blocked so they can't, defend, and wha-bam, you're going to be going. Very good ability. Going to be a definite throw into, I think, a lot of green decks, I would imagine. She has a very similar feel to Robin. Obviously, she's not KOing the card, but she can get it's a very high cost, and it synergizes with some other stuff. And you could probably get this synergizing with an Ashura Doji if you wanted to throw him in here too. We have Raizo, and I like this card too. 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter 1,000, and if he attacks when you have 2 or more rested characters, you draw a card. This synergizes with a couple things, and I think very useful. Kind of hard to get set up and go because I think it is a very easy target, but all of these guys are kind of easy targets with their 3 cost, and that's why you kind of have some of the other defenders later on. And the idea is that's also why you have 4 of each of them, so you can really keep putting them down even if you're getting them KO'd. Then we have Izou, 3 cost, 3,000 power, and rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. And this is really useful because you also have the 2,000 counter, and you have you could also do Cat Viper, but honestly the 2,000 and the higher cost is way higher cost resting, way more useful than Cat Viper in my opinion. Plus it's only a 3, it's not much higher cost, so I think this is super easy. And I've had times where I've used Izou a few times just to tap things. Works super well and would synergize with some other cards in general, so I think this is going to be a good card to look out for in green. Then we have my heavy attackers. We have the 6 cost Kin'emon, which is 6,000 power, and this one's a fun one because he's very easy to utilize in a Oden deck. If your leader is Kozuki Oden, play 1/9 red Scabbards type card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. So basically any of those 3 cost cards that I just showed on the last page, I think, pretty sure all of them are, yeah, so any of those 3 costs that I showed on the last page, you're able to play. That's why I'm saying I'd like to see maybe some more on play effects with them, because I think they would be extra useful. That's why maybe you throw Cat Viper in as well. He might not be a bad add just for that lower cost and being able to tap. So maybe that is a good throw in. So maybe that's something I'll mix in. And then he also has the ability Dawn ×1 when attacking. Once per turn, you can set a 9 Scabbards type card with a cost 3 or less as active. So that's where it's going to be super useful. We're going to be able to utilize Raizo's ability again, Okiku's ability again, all Dog Storm's ability again. Very good ability. Then we have Yamato, what I would call our enforcer. You could probably do 4 of maybe, but I don't think you really need it, because with the law in here, I think the idea is that you can kind of use them and then use your law to bring them back up if you really need to, or you just try to defend them to the death basically. And yeah, 5 cost, 5,000 power. This card's ridiculous. It's double attack, banish. Gonna be a very good card. I don't think there's much more I need to say. I'm really hoping I pull one of these. Then we have Denjiro. I like this card too. 5 cost, 7,000 power. You add the Dawn, and this is getting you 2 more Dawn if you have a Kozuki Oden, which we do. So very good fuel. Like I said, you can get 2 of these and get more. Like I said, this is another one that you maybe play a couple more of. If you're really trying to get something that like really pumps, but honestly I don't think you're gonna get much more than 2 on the board in a time. Maybe you do, maybe you do, because you can just keep pumping, but I think having some other higher cost cards are better to kind of utilize. And you kind of you'll need some extra Dawn to play some of this cards in the next area. But like I said, Denjiro, very good card. I think this is gonna be very useful. Then we have what I'm calling supernova utility. And yeah, no, like I said, the idea is that you kind of have to have the supernovas come in and help. And these guys are basically your defenders. They're gonna be the guys. They're your bouncers. So you have your kid who you play, and if you add a Dawn to him while he's rested, nothing can be attacked other than him, Eustass, Captain Kid. And then we have his ability to activate main once per turn. You may rest this character, play one character with a cost 3 or less from your hand. This is awesome. No like typing, so you can get a 3 cost. We have a lot of good 3 costs that we can throw out. This is another one where, you know, probably be a little more useful if I can get some on play. And I think I have a few cards that would be good, a good mix up that give you some good on play ability that you can utilize with this card. But yeah, no, like I said, this is a really good one. I really like this one. This and Law, I think, are green staples. I think these are going to be something that you're going to see in most green decks. Maybe not all. Maybe at least not the kid. Maybe the kid you don't see in all. But I think this Law, this Trafalgar Law, you see in every green deck probably. If you're not familiar with him, he's 5 cost, 6,000 power. He's a blocker. You play him. You take any character card from your board to your hand. You take any character card from your field to your hand, and you play another character card of 3 or less from your hand. Very good ability. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be something you're going to see in, I think, every green deck, just because it's not predicated on any type of like typing. So like both these very good cards, very good defenders, exactly kind of what my Oden deck needed to kind of stay alive and be able to, you know, really start swinging in hard every turn, basically. Then we have our events. We have Paradise Waterfall. Counter, your leader or one of your characters gains 2,000 power, then set one of your characters as active. Going to be very useful. You can kind of get multiple uses out of your blocker if you want to with this. And there's, like I said, it's just going to be useful to untap a character, especially if it's like, you know, if your Yamato's getting targeted and you have this, you pop this down, save Yamato, tap them so that they can't get attacked again. And then the counter is KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Also very, very good. That's going to be a very useful ability to get rid of some threats and get rid of some blockers, that kind of thing. Then we have You Can Be My Samurai, and this is main. You may rest 2 characters and draw 2 cards. If you have 2 Momos on the board, 2 Hioris on the board, like, you know, they're both 1 cost, so you throw those down, and with 3 you get 2 card draw. You can also use both these cards as fuel using Oden's ability. And I had it where like I had like at least 2 or 3 of these at one point in my hand, and you just toss it, add 2 Dawn, and use those. Like I said, I like this card. It's both in like, it'll be useful in green in general, and then it's extra useful in the Oden deck because you can use it as fuel as well. Then we have Repel. This is my only kind of supernova counter. You probably also replace this with Scalpel, get as much use, but I think having a nice heavier one is useful, and it can combo well with the Paradise Waterfall. This one, maybe you flex a couple characters out and use this, but honestly, I don't think you need a ton of events. I think this is kind of the perfect little matchup. I do have some other events in my alt options, which is what we'll talk about next. All right, and then last we have alt options. So a lot of these are just like extra supernova you can throw in if you want to do a flex or make it like a half supernova, half Oden deck. But like I said, I like having it being focused because having more WANO cards works better with Momo, works better with Oden's ability. So we do have Cat Viper. I think this is probably an easy one. I may trim down some of the 3 cost down to 3 and maybe try throwing Cat Viper in as a low cost. Because I think that might actually be pretty useful because he has a good on play. Or I might do it where I just trim down and have a couple of him and then have a couple of these killers who are going to be really useful. But I think, like I said, I like keeping it focused to Wano country characters for the Oden mostly. And like I said, you have all these that these 2 have really good on play, or rather, these 3 supernovas all have really good on play abilities that can be very useful, and you can get multiple uses of using the various abilities. So like I said, these are definitely an option. This kid would be a good throw-in just for high defense, but I think you don't really need him with the 8 cost kid. But if you're trying to do 2v2 format that I kind of thought up a little bit, this would be like this instantly is a throw-in basically, because he can kind of, he untaps every turn. So if you have a bunch of, if you have 4 people playing, he untaps a lot and can block multiple times. So very useful. And then we have events, and as I said, these are all supernovas, but you have you have stuff that rests opponents, and then stuff that KOs rested opponents. So all useful. I'd say maybe a demon face is one I maybe throw 2 of into, just because I do really like that ability and it synergizes well with Okiku. But I'm thinking maybe I do that in a more supernova Wano Country fusion deck, and maybe do that as a kid leader and mess with that a little bit, but we'll see. Like I said, these are kind of just some alt options you can probably do to kind of spice up and change up this deck a little bit. I'll pop up the deck list one more time just so you can get another look at it. And like I said, I've been playing this a little bit. Me and my roommate did a few games on live stream the other night. I'll pull a little card so you can check that out if you'd like. And I played this deck a few times. He played it once. We had a really good game where my roommate played this deck and I played my Supernova Green deck. I think I'm going to probably edit that into a video next, because I want to kind of start doing some more of those, and I have a few in my back catalog. I want to test out a few things, so keep an eye out for that. And I also wanted to thank everyone on the One Piece trading card game Discord who's working hard to translate and make these proxies. Would not be able to do this without them. They are awesome. I link it in the description for every episode that I do, so go check them out. But yeah, I think that'll do it for my Kozuki Oden leader. I hope you enjoyed this Franky deck builders. Next, I think I'll be showing off my Warlord Doflamingo deck. Don't judge Franky. He's a good shipwright. He builds ships for paying customers, and Doflamingo paid for a ship, so he's gonna make it. What can I say? Stay tuned for next time.